Hello, everyone. I'm Tony DeMeo. Today, I want to talk to you about my love for the Back to the Egg album from Paul McCartney and Wings. At the time, it was just called Wings, without McCartney on it. They changed that much later. Now, this copy I had to get on eBay in 2021. It was an eBay auction. I won. I paid for the dollars and I won. I needed this because it is not sold in stores anywhere. I got the vinyl not too long after that. Also eBay, but not an auction. I didn't even know I was buying this vinyl. I only meant to buy the poster, but the poster was with the vinyl. I didn't have a record player at the time, but I did later when I got one from my cousin. Now, I will tell you that this took me until I was 30 years old to really, really embrace. I had read many times that Paul did this album because he wanted to sound contemporary, like the punk rock of the day, and I absolutely hate the punk rock of the day because punk rock is way too simple for me. I want complex arrangements in music. I want complex lyrics. I want complex kinds of singing. And that's what Paul was really known for. Why would he want to go to something that's simple when mostly he does complex stuff? I don't really get that, but he's not right here to ask, is he? But anyway, this took me a long time to love. I remember listening to it when I was 21 once and just didn't like the hard rock sound of it at first. But then when I was 30, I played the entire thing on YouTube. Listened to every song on there. Absolutely loved it because of the variety. There is so much variety. Reception is track 1. Now, Reception is a really, really cool bass guitar groove from Paul. And little excerpts of actual radio. You hear what sounds like an operatic performer singing. And then you hear what sounds like a spoken word from a radio show. Now, what did you do when you saw the man? Sounds like that. And that's just a really, really cool guitar riff. And then we're on to the actual first song, Getting Closer. It's a song. It's a hard rock song. Not really hard rock, but it's a rock song about a man who feels he's getting closer to a woman's heart while she really wants to be with somebody else. Who can't relate to that? Who can't relate to that message? I know I can relate to that. But Getting Closer is really, really an example of what Steve Holley and Warren Stewart brought to the band. Steve Holley has these fantastic drum fills that just guide the song along, and it's amazing. And Warren Stewart and Paul are trading these fantastic guitar licks. And then Paul, like he did in the Beatles days, had the Mellotron out. The Mellotron, the same synthesizer you hear on my favorite song ever, Strawberry Fields Forever. That Mellotron is on this song. And I just, with all those things into one, it creates this really frantic pace for the song. And again, the song is about a man in love with someone who's probably in love with somebody else. And so it's a frantic pace, like you would have a frantic emotion when you might be in love with somebody who's in love with somebody else. But that's Getting Closer. And Getting Closer, by the way, opens up with what sounds like a brick coming through someone's door, a glass door. And where else do you hear that sound? You hear it on Billy Joel's album Glass Houses, right before the start of You May Be Right. You also hear that very faintly on the classic Fleetwood Mac song Gold Dust Woman. When they made that song, they actually broke a piece of glass. It's really hard to hear, but they did it. Now let's get to track 3 on here. We're Open Tonight. Now I want to say, this song has a very ambiguous meaning. Some people have argued that the song could be about a brothel opening up, but I'm quite certain Paul will say it's about a concert opening up and the performers announcing to everyone that they're opening tonight. Paul has written a lot of songs with lyrics that are sexually suggestive, so we don't really know, do we? But it could be either one. But I lean towards the concert idea. It's a very, very gentle acoustic song with Warren Schuber giving fantastic acoustic guitar riffs. And it's just, it could be a lullaby if you have sick children who need to go to sleep. Play that song for them, and then we'll find out how it puts the people to sleep. And that song leads into the first of what I call the punk rock songs on the album, and that's Spinning On, which is next. Now, Spinning On, I really like because the opening is just, you hear someone saying, "This is it." That's a really cool thing to hear on an album, to hear some spoken words. It's cool. Now, Spinning On, unlike We're Open Tonight, is clearly about sex. That's what makes it a rock song. That's what makes it a rock song. And let me see if I can find the lyric sheet. There is no lyric sheet for that album. Okay, big mistake there. But anyway, Spinning On is full of really absurdist, silly lyrics that are clearly about sex. You hear something about going to do it in a field or an airplane hangar. Come on, Paul. We know what you're really singing about. And then Spinning On follows it up with what I have to say is the worst song Denny Laine wrote while with Wings. Again and again and again. It's a song that, if I played it again and again and again, I might have a headache. But it's not that bad. There are some good parts to it. I do like Denny's singing. I like the middle eight. I like the guitar solo. But it's he should have written it with Paul. Paul could have helped him with the lyrics. Paul should have been what John was for him when he was younger. But it's really a song about him wanting to be with this woman. Well, he doesn't want to be with her, actually. That's what the song is about. But the lyrics are very clunky. It's like reading a paper with run-on sentences. Songs should be concise, with concise lyrics. This is not that, which is why I say Paul should have helped him, but he didn't. And then we go into Old Siam Sir, my least favorite track on here. It's good. I really like the rock feel of it. Steve Holley gives those great rock drum fills, and you get nice riffs from the keyboard and the mellotron, but it's very light on the story and the lyrics. Paul sings it in typical manner of a punk rock song, so you just can't really hear what the lyrics are, can you? I can't. I need to look it up. But it leaves me excited because my very favorite song on the album is next, and it's one of my favorites from Paul McCartney through his entire life, and that's Arrow Through Me. A song that I always liked, but I liked it a lot more when I found out what the lyrics are about. It's a song about a man also in love with a woman who's betraying him. Now, can you relate to that? I can. I felt that when I first became obsessed with this song 3 years ago. And Paul gives a real R&B soul style vocal here. It's one of his best performances ever on song. And I really like the lyrics. We could have had a finer thing. We could have had a major love and affection. Come on, get up and bring your love. They're fantastic. And now this song was just Steve Holley and Paul. Paul did the mellotron on this, and Steve Holley did the fantastic drumming. This was a single, and I cannot believe it wasn't a bigger hit. People in 79, what is wrong with you, people? What is wrong with you? I don't know if there was a year when this song could have been a big hit. I don't know. But it was way ahead of its time, and only recently have people embraced this song, fortunately. Now we flip over to side 2 on the album, known as Eggs Over Easy. Very clever. I love Eggs. I love the album Back to the Egg. The album itself, I would say, is either my second or third favorite Wings album. I rank Wings differently than Paul McCartney solo, because they're incredibly different. But this would be either my second or third favorite. Probably second. But it's very close with Rainbow Speedway also in the mix. But side 2 opens with Rockestra theme. Combination of rock and orchestra, obviously. Paul assembled a group of really talented, really popular musicians. Guitarists, horn players, drummers, bassist. John Bonham and John Paul Jones, both of whom were from Led Zeppelin. David Gilmour of Pink Floyd. A trio of horn players, Howie Casey included, who played on many Wings songs. And he was in Liverpool in the early 60s in Howie Casey and Diplomats. Now this song is a very simple one-note rock song that isn't complex, and the only lyrics are, why haven't I had any dinner? Can I do it anymore? It's about the only lyrics you hear in this song. But if you want a fun rock song, this is it. And it did win the Grammy for Best Instrumental Rock Song the first year ever was such a Grammy. Or was it the second year? I think it was the second. But the next song on side 2 is To You. Again, another very simple rock song, but it's an effective one. To You, of course, the lyrics were probably written in 5 minutes by Paul. And it's all about someone who's mad at somebody else for not treating them right. Very simple. But you get this smashing guitar solo halfway through, heavily treated with feedback from the machine. And there's a very similar guitar solo, obviously in Beatles' Song Revolution, but also a few years later, in the song Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes. Was that influenced by this song by Wings? It's possible. We don't really know. It's possible. And then on the album, it's my favorite part of the album, because it's 2 medleys of luscious ballads in a row. Now, I could take an album of ballads all day long. I wouldn't want to, because that would be a bit boring. But I love ballads more than anything else. You got After the Ball / Million Miles on here. After the Ball is much better than Million Miles. But in both of these cases, Paul is in a castle where the album was recorded for the entirety of it. And he just reaches these high notes. And of course, who doesn't love a ball? Balls are so romantic. I think it's clear Paul really wanted to go to a ball. Did he ever go to a ball? We don't know. But this song is just so beautiful. But it is eclipsed by the much more superior next song on here, Winter Rose and Slash of the Wig. Now he's singing about love that's come awake due to a winter rose. Which, by the way, is a very similar story to Beauty and the Beast. Just so you know. It's a very similar story to Beauty and the Beast. It's just it's beautiful. And it tells a whole story about love and the whole seasons. Snow falls in the winter, spring brings the rain, but it's never too long to love again. Love awake. You really get the sound you're in the castle. And again, a castle, very romantic. Castle, also in Beauty and the Beast. Go watch Beauty and the Beast, then play this album. I dare you. And then we go off to another very heartwarming track for me. It's The Broadcast, which is, it's 3 interpretations of 3 passages from 3 very, very old novels. Paul met these people who owned the castle where the album was recorded, and they offered to record themselves speaking these passages from these novels, and these passages of these novels deal with friendship and the victory of sport, and it's the perfect thing to put near the end of an album here. It's a heartwarming thing. It's like something at the end of a Disney movie or of a play. It's beautiful to hear here. David Bowie heard this and said, that's a good single. I respect that, but this wouldn't do well on radio. And then we get to the second song recorded with a rock and roll orchestra, So Glad to See You Here, where he brought back all the people from before, including David Gilmour and John Bonham and John Paul Jones and Gary Brooker from the band Procol Harum on organ. Now this song also is part of the concept of the album, that it's a concert where the band is singing to the audience, which makes it so cool, doesn't it? You feel like you're part of a concert playing the album. And then So Glad to See You Here, being a rock song, leads right into the finale. Something completely different, as Monty Python would say, Baby's Request. Now this is maybe the 4th time Paul has gone into 1920s territory. It's got a really old standards jazzy feel to it, with this fantastic guitar lick that the fantastic Warren Stuber played at the beginning of the song. And then you just feel transported back to the 20s. And it's the story of a man calling into a radio station to play a song for his baby, his lover, which is a lovely idea from Paul. It's a great way to close the album. You've got a 20s style song, you've got at least 4 or 5 up-tempo hard rock songs. You've got multiple ballads on here, which are so beautiful, so lovely. And you got a 20 song, and you got an instrumental rock and roll song on here, and 2 spoken word songs. What more could you ask for? Again, I do not know which time period this album would have been perfect for. Clearly it didn't do well in 79. It was number 8 in the charts, though, which is pretty damn good if you were a brand new band. If you were, Tom Petty would have loved that number. But for Paul McCartney, that was not good enough. He was so spoiled on the constant number 1s from being a Beatle that he just wasn't happy with number 8. Number 1 is better than number 1-8, but number 8 is great too. But I want Paul McCartney to listen to this again, tell us he loves it, and then give us a remix of this, and give us all the bonus content associated with this album. That is what we need from this album. Now tell me what you think in the comment section below. And if it took you a long time to love this album, or if you always did. For me, it took a long time. I needed to understand the context of this, and it just play the whole album. So, thank you. I'm Tony DeMeo. Thanks for watching.